as far as Ben's, the time he woke up for school, what time did he normally have to leave the house?
Usually he left about 6:30. And then, oh, sorry.
That's fine. So he left at 6:30. What would his routine be?
He would set multiple alarms because he was hard to wake up. And so he would set the normal Apple alarm, and then he had a couple of backup alarms. And set one for like 5:30, one for 5:40, one for different times. And hit snooze and wait until the last minute, and then get up and get dressed and head out to the bus with Meghan.
Okay. So if Ben, in his statement, said, I looked at my phone, it's getting close to time to leave. Would you say that's pretty accurate? 2 hours or so time to leave.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about Ben's room. I have kids. Their rooms aren't always very neat. What about, how did Ben keep his room?
Mostly neat. He had some boxes in there from when we had moved that still hadn't been unpacked. But I think the room was smaller than all the stuff that he wanted to put in it.
Okay, back to your
Just the garage.
garage. Tell the jury about this.
That's
It's 29.
Yeah, that's the SCA weapons. It's actually an old, one of those 3-tiered plastic shelves that we drilled holes into to be able to hold practice swords and rapiers and things like that.
Right. And you heard testimony that Ben's room was messy and cluttered. Do you agree with that assessment?
It was when we got back to the house.
Okay, so if I show you State's Exhibit 41, 43, 45.
No.
Did Ben's room look like this before the police went through it?
No.
And right here in State's 45, what is that?
Can you zoom in? I'm sorry, I can't see. It looks like it might be a practice sword. I'm not quite. Oh, no, that's the. Is that the BB gun? I'm sorry, it's a little blurry.
Can you give me the exhibit, Mr.
Let's see if I can find a better photo of it.
Sorry.
We'll try here.
Yeah, I think that's the BB gun.
Okay. Whose BB gun is that?
Well, Michael had it. Michael had bought it, and he was going to give it to Benjamin to use.
And did Ben ever shoot things like squirrels or birds or any animals with it?
I'm not sure if Ben ever shot it at all, actually.
Did Ben ever go hunting?
No,
What do you want to go hunting?
not that I know of, no.
Again, and then State's 41. Is it fair to say when these photos were taken, the room was messier due to the search from the police?
Yeah.
I want to start with when the sheriff's office, with the patrol officers, first came to the scene that morning. What were you asking them to do?
Well, I was asking them what had happened.
And what did they tell you?
They wouldn't tell me anything. They didn't tell me what was going on with Meghan. They didn't. I didn't see Ben that morning. And I didn't go into Meghan's room. They were already there, and they wouldn't tell me anything.
Okay. At some point, did you ask to go in and see her?
Yes.
And what did they tell you?
No. Did
you ask them to take a picture?
Yes.
And what was their response to that?
No.
Did that type of treatment continue that morning?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Explain what you mean.
I didn't know anything about what was going on. I had woken up. I heard my husband yelling, and that woke me up. And there were police coming into the house, and they wouldn't tell me what was going on. Michael told me that Meghan had been stabbed, and I could hear CPR going on, but they wouldn't let me go to her. They moved us. Our house there was the main bedroom, and then the kitchen and living room, and then the kids' bedroom.
So let me break it down in question and answer, because we'll get objections then.
Sorry.
Were you moved around to different places that morning?
Yeah.
Okay. Where all were you moved in the house?
We started off right when you walk out of our bedroom, right by the kitchen bar, and the police were standing right there and wouldn't let us go past. And then they moved us kind of into the kitchen itself. They moved us into the computer room, and we kept asking for, what's going on, what's going on. I had gone to get dressed. They had sent us to get dressed, and I was getting dressed while apparently Ben was let out, so I didn't see him leave, but my husband did. I didn't even see him go out. They put us in the computer room, and we couldn't tell what was going on. They shut the door, and I tried to open a window. I was here during the body cam stuff, and there was a noise on there. That was me with the mini blinds because all the computers were in the way. I was trying to get the window open because I could hear EMS talking on the other side of the window. Talking about my daughter.
Sorry. So when you're in the computer room, I think the jury's seen this picture, but there's a window open on one of the scene photos.
I opened it.
That was you that opened that?
Yeah.
Why did you do that?
Because I wanted to hear what was going on. They were talking about my kid. And I heard the word carotid, and they wouldn't tell us anything.
As the morning unfolded, did you remain in this information vacuum?
Yes. Yeah, eventually they moved us. They wanted to put us in the garage, but the garage was too crowded, and we had told them that there were knives in there, and they decided that wouldn't be a good idea to put us in there. And so they put us outside of the house, and we asked them if we could wait in the car because it was raining, and they said yes. And so we sat inside the car and watched. The paramedics came up after we were in the car, so we saw them arrive. We saw police all over the place. I mean, I got up at one point. We saw the paramedics leave, and I thought they had Meghan on a stretcher. I know now that it wasn't. It was probably just all their equipment and stuff. But I asked the police officer at the door where they were taking her, and could we go to the hospital and meet her? And they wouldn't tell us which hospital, which I now know why. But
so let me stop you there. As the morning kept going, yeah. You're not getting information. Do you try to contact a family friend?
Yeah, I called my friend Dale Carroll. Who's a lawyer, and I called him up and I said, we need help. And he lives about 45 minutes away, and this was, I don't know what time, but he got there around 6:30.
So at 6:30, had you still not received any information about your daughter?
No, nothing.
What about Ben?
Nothing.
All right, so mom relaying her experiences on the fateful day that her daughter died. We're going to squeeze in a break here. When we come back, we'll have more testimony from the defendant's mother in the sleepwalking twin murder trial. She answers if she knew the reason why her son killed her daughter and what police did during that investigation. Keep it here on your front row seat to justice.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, new developments in the shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. We'll bring you takeaways from today's big hearing.
Closing Arguments with Vinny Politan tonight at 8/7 Central, only on Court TV.
2 innocent children put to bed only to be awakened by the sound of gunfire.
Now a jury must decide the fate of this father.
Welcome back, folks. I'll take you back to court in just a minute, but first, I want to bring in our guest for this hour. Joining us is attorney and former public defender, Gabrielle Higgins. Gabrielle, great to see you tonight. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. Let me start off first by getting your sense of this trial, the sleepwalking twin murder trial. The defense is putting forth a sleepwalking defense. As a defense attorney, I applaud them, but I'd love to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I think the issue is that sleepwalking is extremely rare, especially in adults. And so when they lay out this sleepwalking defense, for the jury to buy it, they have to consider how many steps did the defendant have to take in order to commit the ultimate killing of his sister, and whether or not those steps could be taken by someone with limited consciousness. And so it's a hard sell. It is a sell that some people have been found acquitted throughout the country. Once again, extremely rare. So I'm interested to seeing how they managed to sort through the sleep forensics needed to explain this.
Yeah, they brought their expert on a little earlier today, and he was a little bit all over the place, and I thought the state did a fantastic job on cross-examination there, sort of undercutting some of the things that he was talking about. But I want to talk about the mom on the stand right now. We heard from the father earlier. He walked in and saw what was going on. She obviously didn't, but dealt with a lot of things after or as they were trying to sort of get control of the crime scene. How do you think she's doing on the stand, and what really is she adding to the defense's case?
I think that the issue, right, is that it's wonky science. So she tried to drop gems like he typically has difficulty waking up. He has to set a lot of alarms because he struggles with sleeping. But that doesn't rise to the level of a sleep disorder, which is what the theory of this case is. So she's dropping the buzzword. She's clearly a well-coached witness, but I don't think it's going to be enough because, like we said, this is a rare occurrence, and he doesn't have a history of having trouble sleeping or of being reactively violent while sleeping.
Yeah, you know what's interesting? When I thought about sleepwalking, you know, most of us have experience with it, but only in the sense of kind of like a punchline. You know what I mean? It's like a punchline to things, not truly I don't know anyone who's actually, sleepwalking. I've heard of things, but I don't actually know. So in terms of picking this jury, would you have wanted folks who had experience with it in some way, shape, or form, of someone who you just wanted to educate on it and had no experience with it?
I would want someone who is completely blank, a blank slate, that hasn't heard about. I think the issue is they didn't have a credible expert. So if they had an expert that could sell the game, that could sell sleep forensics, that could remind you of those times you wandered to the bathroom after tailgate and didn't know how you got there, right? That could connect it to some type of real life experience, it would be an easier sell in this venue. I think the issue is they didn't come off credible and they folded under cross-examination like you referenced. But we would want someone that would buy what the defense is selling, and they needed a more credible salesman.
Yeah, I would have to agree 100%. All right, Gabrielle, stand by. I want to go back to court now. That's in Texas. It's the sleepwalking twin murder trial. Jurors are listening to the victim and the defendant's mother testify on direct for the defense. So let's go back in.
And he came back, I don't know how long it was, but he came back and he told us that Meghan was gone. And he had verified that the police didn't need us on the scene anymore. We gave him a key to the house. He gave it to the police, and he took us to his place.
If the implication was that you or Michael told the cops, no, go get a warrant.
No.
Was that you?
No.
Was that Michael?
No.
eventually, you did speak to Sheriff's Office, correct?
They called us and wanted to do an interview with us.
What type of information did you get from them?
Did I get from them?
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing.
And then at some point you met with a prosecutor from the Harris County DA's office?
Yeah.
Do you know who that was?
Josh, and I don't know what his last name was. I just know Josh.
When you had that meeting, were you given much information?
No. I was told there was a victims advocacy fund that we could apply to if we wanted.
What year was that meeting?
That was still in 2021, as far as I recall. With Josh?
Since that last meeting, you would agree with me, it's been years.
Yes.
Since that last meeting, did anyone with the Sheriff's Office, the DA's office, they try to contact you to get more information on this case?
No.
We saw from testimony that even as early as last week, law enforcement was trying to gather evidence on this case. Did anybody call you last week?
No. They've had 3.5 years. They never asked us anything else.
Now, the circumstances of your two kids, one being complainant, one being the accused, may prove awkward for an agency, but don't you think they owe you the duty of talking to you about evidence in this case?
Objection to argumentative.
You can answer that.
Okay. Yes.
And would you have provided them all this evidence that they've been missing in this case?
Yes.
There was questions about, well, they didn't know which witnesses to call because they just didn't know. Did you see all that evidence about the phone that Ben gave them?
Yes.
And he gave them consent for that phone, right?
Yeah.
Over 38 gigabytes of data in Ben's phone?
Yes.
Of the people who testified here yesterday, was every single phone number in that phone?
Yes.
And Ben had emails in that phone?
Yes.
He had text messages in that phone?
Yes.
Did law enforcement ever, to your knowledge, contact anybody in Ben's phone?
No.
What about Meghan's phone?
No.
I'm going to show you what's already been admitted into evidence, State's Exhibit 35. And while you're looking at it, it's in evidence, but tell us, what are we looking at on that wall?
This is the hallway between Meghan and Benjamin's wall.
Now, I'm going to show you what I've got marked as Defense Exhibit 6. Is Defense Exhibit 6 just a zoom-in close-up of this photo on the wall?
Yes.
Or this art piece of art?
Yes.
Okay. And you can see it more clearly on Defense Exhibit 6 because it's zoomed in.
Right.
Okay. At this time, Judge, I'm going to, sorry. And this is from your home, and these are a closer look at the crime scene photo, correct?
Yes.
I would offer Defense 6, Judge. I'm kidding, opposing counsel.
No objection, Your Honor.
With no objection made, defense number 6 will be admitted. Evidence made published, sir, to lead you.
Okay, it's a little blurry, but tell me if I have this right. Of my friends, there is no other who can take the place of my dear brother.
That's what it says.
All right. How many square feet was your home? Do you remember?
About 1,700.
Okay. The area, the livable area near Ben, Meghan, and your room, how much?
Like the living room area?
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe as big as the jury box. It wasn't huge. I don't know the actual square footage.
At some point, you, Michael, the rest of the family tried to figure out why this could have happened. Fair to say?
Yes.
Do you know of any reason why your son would intentionally, knowingly cause the death of your daughter?
No.
I'll pass it to this judge.
All right, there it was. No reason that she can think of why he would have wanted his sister dead.